Today, we're going to take a trip to Coba Cocina. This extraordinary journey will take us to a trip back in time to an ancient Mayan land where we will dine on handmade tortilla chips, hand-hacked guacamole, scrumptious brisket tacos, and wash it all down with a red sangria. That sounds like a Latin paradise, but we have to go through a jellyfish tank to get there. Let's go check it out.
Coba Cocina in Lexington, Kentucky was inspired by a large ruined city of the pre-Columbian Maya civilization. However, this restaurant is far from an ancient ruin. As a matter of fact, it feels more like the kind of trendy eatery you might find in an exotic locale. Coba Cocina owners Phil and Lee Greer traveled extensively throughout the world and kept a record of ideas that would later come to fruition in this restaurant concept. The father and son duo have a wealth of experience in the restaurant industry. Their company, Mint Julep Restaurants, includes 38 Cheddar's casual cafes in Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, Indiana, West Virginia, Virginia, and North Carolina. One thing that all of these restaurants have in common is amazing food from scratch at prices that'll make your wallet happy.
So I'm here with Lee Greer, who's the president at Greer Companies, and Baman Farkapour, who's the general manager at Coba Restaurant here. We're just going to talk to them a little bit about the restaurant, this beautiful place that I see. Just you walk in and, I mean, there is eye candy in every corner. I mean, it's almost to the point where you can't even take it all in just the first time. You've probably got a lot of repeat people that come back and they just see something new each time they're here.
That's yeah, I appreciate that. Eye candy, that's something we need to add to the menu in Cocoa, it sounds like. If we could sell that, it'd be great.
Well, tell me a little bit about it. I mean, I know some of this stuff has been custom made just for this restaurant, and it was made by people right here in Lexington.
Yes, we're very proud that a lot of our craftsmen, most of our craftsmen were right here in Lexington, and that was a big part of the story that we wanted to share. We're very proud of that. It took an entire village to build Coba. And we wanted, hopefully when you're here, you really feel like you're somewhere else. So it's a night out in Lexington that hopefully gives you an experience around the world.
It really does, and I guess that's part of your forte really, is that kind of touch point with the customers and making them really feel like they're at a resort. I mean, you go the extra mile.
Absolutely. When you have a building like this and a concept like this, attention to detail is crucial. And that's what we like to do. You know, we want to make sure that we make someone's day. We want to make sure that when we capture a moment, we make it a memorable one. And that's what we strive. You know, attention to detail and just the level of service. People, when they come in and they leave, you said it exactly right. It's just like you've been to a resort, that you've been pampered from the time that you come in until you leave.
Tell me about some of the design features. I mean, they're just gorgeous. And they came from some travels that you did really in the Americas.
You know, Cobar is inspired from a lot of places in Latin America, in Brazil, and Floripa specifically. The Coba is inspired by a lot of the areas in central Mexico and the cenote theme of the Mayan villages of Coba, Mexico. And of course, one of my favorite places in the world is Italy, and it inspired an entire confection shop on its own. And,
Thank you for that, by
and
the
an
way.
array of gelaterias. One of the things we thought is the building is going to get them in this restaurant. The world's largest private jellyfish aquarium is certainly worth one or two visits on its own. But if the food's not the best you've ever had, if the value's not great, if the service isn't wow, then we're not going to have our goal of getting people back 3, 4, 5 times a week. And you know, it's really going to be the service and the food that draw people in continuously. And that was our goal, and I believe we're delivering that.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of the food, I understand I might get to go in the kitchen and maybe have a brisket taco or two.
Or 3.
Or 3.
Before you even taste the Latin-inspired food in this 400-seat restaurant, your eyes will feast on the stunning decor. In the center of the building is an 18-foot-tall jellyfish tank, which is said to be the world's largest private jellyfish aquarium. Also eye-catching are the 6 chandeliers, each with 125 pieces of hand-blown Murano glass. Wooden wave-like panels on the walls and translucent wave-like panels on the ceilings keep the ocean theme consistent throughout. There is eye candy in every corner, like backlit onyx, bamboo floors, water walls, glass staircases, and iridescent tiles. This all gives the feeling of dining in a blue liquid paradise. And all of that comes before you ever take your first bite.
Well, I'm here with Alejandro Velasquez, and you are the executive chef here at Coba.
That's correct.
And man, I just have to thank you for making like my favorite dish, which is the brisket tacos.
Well, thank you very much for that. We do it a little bit different. We don't smoke our brisket. We do put it in the oven overnight and it's cooked at about 275 degrees. It's the last thing we put in the oven, and it comes out about 8 in the morning. So, and really, if you notice, it has more of a citrusy taste to it. We don't do the traditional smoke. We thought that would be a little overbearing, and really with just the coleslaw that we do, which is a poblano coleslaw, which is a little bit sweet. It's got a little bit of spice to it. It just kind of brings all the flavors together. And that's really kind of been the big thing for me, is doing the spicy and the sweet, and really tying all that in together.
Well, yeah, you do a lot of really neat things like that. I mean, there's definitely the Latin influence. I mean, it's Latin food, but you give it this really fun kind of Southern American kind of twist to it. I mean, brisket tacos, like that's genius. Whoever thought of that?
And that was really just a collaboration of just the owners and Larry Kearns. He's been a big part of this mini development. Phil Greer, Lee Greer, just things that they've seen in their travels, and they wanted to bring it back to Lexington to bring it home. The people that don't really get to go out and experience things like this in other parts of the country, they wanted to bring here so they could do it right in Lexington.
Right.
So it really, the menu at one point just kind of started growing and growing and growing, and it started as a very simple idea with just the Latin cuisine. But what we offer is, if you come in and you don't like Latin cuisine, there's a burger on there. Like you said, there's the agave glazed ribs on there as well. Just a selection of different things that people can choose from. We have the steak, the filet mignon, which a lot of Latin restaurants don't do. So yeah, everything does have a little twist to it.
Yeah, there's a twist, and you're right, there's a large variety for people who want really kind of that authentic feel, and then for people that kind of maybe want something, that little fusion, and then like you're saying, people that want a cheeseburger, they can kind of find it all. And the chips, which are like, seriously, I think you put an addictive chemical in it. I mean, come on. Like, they're so good. Like, they're just made in house. So I think it's just that freshness that's so amazing. They're not like, it's not opening a bag.
Well, no, and we make them pretty much around the clock. I mean, there's constantly someone back there making chips, and the original idea started out that way, and we thought we were going to get away from that, but we just sell so many of them. With the black bean dip, that's also been a huge hit. I think most people, that was an afterthought that came in at the very end. Larry Kearns, once again, he came in and said, let's offer something that people don't do. Everyone offers salsa.
Well, I'm excited to go look in the window and see some things being made.
Okay.
You want to come with me?
Absolutely.
Today, we are at Coba Cocina and have taken the visual tour of this distinctive hotspot in Lexington, Kentucky. We have seen the extensive design decor, including the 3,000-gallon jellyfish tank, and talked with the chef behind the delicious, made-from-scratch Pan-American dishes. So you may be thinking, what more is there? Well, plenty more, including a cool Latin lounge called Cobar Cantina and a confectionery called Coco Confectioner. This hot spot is like 3 in 1.
Okay, so I'm here with Shannon Velasquez, who is the confectionista. I love that term, that's awesome. And Meg Brown, you're the manager.
Yes.
You should be managista.
I like
or something.
it.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
That's better.
But you all have the really fun job of making all this sweet goodness and coming up with like some amazing gelato flavors. Tell me a little bit, Shannon, tell me a little bit about your background. You are married to the head chef here.
Yeah, in
That
the
has its
back.
perks.
I know, we'll pass each other and say hi every once in a while. I've always loved creating things and building things and just really being hands-on. And finally, I found out that you can become a professional cook. Who knew? So I was like, well, this is the dream. I can eat it, I can make it, why not?
Well, Meg, tell me a little bit about all the different things that you offer. I mean, seriously, like people don't realize it's so much more than just gelato.
Right. No, we also have tarts, we have cheesecake, we have little mini pies, and these mousse cups that everyone goes crazy over.
They're beautiful too. I mean, they're like works of art. They're just beautiful.
Absolutely, I agree.
Well, and tell me how you come up with these gelato flavors. I mean, I've come in and you've had like popcorn, or you'll have pistachio or bubble gum with fun big chunks of bubble gum coming out of them.
It's super awesome. So with the popcorn, I was just sitting there eating some Jelly Bellies, and I think everybody's favorite has to be the buttered popcorn. So why not make gelato with it? So we actually came up with our own buttered popcorn gelato, which is super great, by the way.
Well, tell me a little bit about the difference between like ice cream versus gelato or frozen yogurt, or what would make this kind of different, because it's pretty unique. I mean, for Kentucky, there's not a lot of homemade gelato places here.
Gelato is like ice cream, but a little bit better. One of the reasons for that too is with ice cream, you're gonna make it with a lot of heavy whipping cream, whereas we use mostly milk. So it's actually better for you, so you can eat more of it.
Love that. I love that. I'm gonna be getting an extra helping now because of that. It's
Absolutely.
healthy. Okay, so less milk, so does that mean it's denser then? It's not as whipped?
Right. It's something that's going to be very dense. You're going to get a very concentrated flavor out of that. You'll have to try some.
Yeah, sadly, I have come here quite a few times, sampled several, but I am always up for the challenge to sample some more.
Excellent.
I'd love to actually see how it's made.
Oh, great. Well, let's do that then.
As if Coba and cocoa were not enough, the Greers also added a third complementary concept, Cobar Cantina. Up the glass staircase, you'll find plenty of cocktails, cerveza, and conversation. This lounge stays open later than the restaurant and serves up small plates with big flavors. Plus, they offer plenty of signature drinks using bartender-made in-house mixes. Take the Bobby G, for instance, which is named after world-renowned mixologist and invented specifically for Cobar.
The experiences that are waiting for you at Coba, Coco, and Cobar are enough to convince even the most seasoned traveler that they're away at a vacation resort somewhere in Latin America. As a matter of fact, I think I may go for a swim. Anybody got any suntan lotion?